Gear doesn't matter. Do you agree? Well, I agree to some extent. Like, I also think that if you're a good photographer or videographer, if you have the eye for it, then you should be able to create interesting, beautiful, and unique work no matter what camera you have. It doesn't matter if it's a cheap point and shoot or a super expensive high-tech camera. But you also can't get around the fact that sometimes the camera you have might not be the right camera for the job. And also, I found that switching to a different system or a different type of camera will influence your work, how you work, at least in my experience. And I've been doing this for, well, I started studying at photography college in 2005 or 6. So, 15 years? Yeah, it hurts. You can see it in my face, right? So what I want to do today is I want to show you every camera that I've ever owned and how each camera influenced my work. And just a little interesting fact here, the week before my classes started at photography college, that's when I first touched a camera. Before that, I never touched a camera. I didn't even take photos. I mean, you have to touch a camera if you want to take photos, of course. But yeah, I had this crazy thing in my head. I want to study photography with zero experience. It didn't even interest me before that. It's weird. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm rambling. Cameras, that's what we're gonna talk about. So the first camera, the camera that I started photography college with, was the Canon 350D, an APS-C camera, 8 megapixels, nothing special. It came with a kit lens, and this is the first photo shot with that camera. And well, it's also my first real photo ever. And I used that camera, the 350D, the first 2 years, I think, of photography college. First with the kit lens, but I think in the first year already, I also bought the Canon 50mm 1.8. You know, that all plastic nifty 50, and that's pretty much what I used in the first 2 years. That's also when my love for prime lenses started, right from the beginning. And then in the third year of photography college, I bought the Canon 5D. Epic camera, it changed everything. Full frame also, and so that 50mm prime that I had, which on APS-C has a 75mm field of view, all of a sudden became a true 50mm, and it literally widened my view on the world because I was using that 50mm all the time. And so I started going wider. I bought a 24mm prime, maybe also a 35, I'm not sure. And slowly I started getting into journalism, travel, documentary photography. Full frame, wider lenses, because the first 2 years I was actually more into publicity and commercial photography. And the Canon 5D pushed me more towards photographing life. And I also graduated with that camera. I didn't graduate with a journalism or documentary project yet. I decided to do fairy tales with a twist, inspired by Gregory Crewdson's work. You know, with artificial light, creating, yeah, what looks like one-frame movies almost. But then after I graduated, more and more journalism, documentary. Okay, and then in 2012, I bought the Canon 5D Mark III and also the Sigma 35mm 1.4. And that combo really shaped my style and pushed me even further towards journalism and documentary. Next to my daytime job, because back then I was working as a graphic designer and later also as a product photographer for a company. We also had a few hours of graphic design in photography college, so that's why I ended up with that job. But yeah, in my free time, I tried to be a freelance photographer and I also worked on my own personal projects. I traveled a lot. I also remember that one time I decided to take one photo every day on my way to work. And I did that for a year, I think, maybe 2 years even. I had a Tumblr page where I posted those photos and actually it got picked up and I think some of those photos were published even. I have to look for that magazine. I'm gonna look for that magazine and I'm gonna show you right now. Okay, and then an important moment, a very, very important moment was when I was asked to be a behind-the-scenes photographer for a TV project. And the concept was 6 medical students were given the opportunity to work in a hospital in the Democratic Republic of Congo for 3 weeks. And later I did another project about Congolese hospitals for an NGO a year later, but that was then as a real photographer, an assignment, and I tried combining doing projects like that with my own personal work. And you can feel it, right? More and more it's like journalism, documentary, and the projects got bigger, staying in the same place for 3-4 weeks, trying to capture the essence of a place, like this project for example, Behind the Redwood Curtain. And then I discovered medium format, both film and digital. And there's something about medium format that, well, back then it intrigued me. It's like, in my opinion, medium format is made for documentary photography. I don't know what it is, and it just kept bouncing in my head. I started looking at photography, medium format photography, the work from other photographers every day, until in 2015-16, I decided to buy a medium format camera, digital, the mighty Pentax 645Z, and it just changed the way I photographed things. It changed the way I saw things. It slowed me down. It made me think about the shot. It made me write down shot lists before I started the project. The whole process just felt so different when I was using that medium format camera compared to the other cameras that I had used. And I also just loved the look. The medium format look, I still love it. And then at the end of 2016, beginning of 17, I won a Nikon Press Photo Award for this project, shot with that medium format camera, the Pentax 645Z. You can check it out on my website, it's still there. And then in 2018, Joanna and me, we decided to go travel indefinitely, travel the world. We traveled for 2 years. And so for 2 years, I was also lugging around that big, heavy medium format camera. And we traveled hand luggage only. It is possible, but it's just because I loved that camera so much that it didn't bother me that it was so big and heavy. I hiked up volcanoes with it, I hiked through the jungle with it, hot and sweaty, leeches everywhere, rain. It didn't matter to me. The only flaw that it has, the Pentax 645Z, is that, well, the video that it shoots looks horrible. Absolutely horrible. It's not even like not okay, it looks not okay. No, it looks horrible. And the second year that we were traveling, I decided I wanted to do more and more video because everybody was talking about video and video is the future. You have to start with video, so I wanted to start with video. And so I bought the Canon M50. I think I bought it in, was it Colombia? Ecuador? Not sure anymore. It was in South America somewhere. It was a pain in the ass, by the way, to find all the accessories. Microphone, GorillaPod. Whew, can still feel the stress. And Joanna will confirm. And yeah, that was the start of all this. And slowly I started doing more and more video. I started this YouTube channel, it started growing, and until the point I decided to get rid of the Pentax so I could buy a camera that was good at both photos and video. First, I bought the Canon R5, and I absolutely loved it for photos, but not so much for video. I don't know, it was a pain in the ass to work with. The process was very slow and my computer couldn't handle the files. It overheated all the time. Later they improved it with some firmware updates, but it was already too late because I had already switched to the Sony a7S III. Which I absolutely love and I'm still using it. Even though it doesn't have the same resolution as the Pentax or the R5, but I don't feel like I miss having tons of megapixels. And the photos coming out of the Sony a7S III look excellent, beautiful. Every once in a while I get comments saying that the Sony a7S III takes bad photos because it only has 12 megapixels. Well, let me tell you, if someone makes comments like that, they're definitely not a photographer and they have no idea what they're talking about. But anyway, yeah, so that's it. All my cameras from the day I started studying photography at college, 2005, 6, until now. No, I forgot one. And it's right behind me. The Canon 1000D. Second hand, says it here. Occasion. Okaze. Nokaze. Yeah, I bought this one, I don't remember. The first time or the second time I went to Africa as a backup. A backup for my Canon 5D Mark III. You see, gear doesn't matter. I bought a super cheap second hand APS-C camera as a backup for my super expensive full frame camera. But anyway, okay, so yeah, that's it. Those are all my cameras. Wow, this feels so weird. It feels too big for my hands. I have very small hands. That one, the Sony a7S III, feels a lot better in my hands. This feels horrible. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.